Hello and welcome to our SOMA Breath community. Welcome everybody to our live Power Hour, a special Q&A dedicated to Mental Health Awareness Week. Our founder, Niraj Naik, has had his fair share of mental health issues that he's had to deal with, and he is very happy to come along and share with you how his journey has been and what ultimately led to making SOMA Breath, and which is why we are all here. So he has definitely had, he had an autoimmune condition, was faced with basically having to live a life with an incurable illness, which he managed to overcome. So, we're really, really happy that he's here, that he can tell us his story and why this amazing community exists in the first place. So that's wonderful. And it's nice to see people in the room who have sent their questions in to me that they wanted to ask, because it's always nicer when you actually ask Niraj yourself. Let me just continue to let more people into the room and do my usual game of finding Niraj. There he is, he's there. Let me just unmute him. Asked to unmute. I was just about to ask you all to get up and have a dance to shake off all the stress and anxiety before we begin. But Mental Health Awareness Week, the organisers have chosen anxiety to be the main focus of the topic. It's still, unfortunately, a huge topic that lots of people have to deal with. And so that's why we're here today, gathered to talk about it. And I'm seeing amongst our community members that this is still a difficult topic to talk about openly with people. So we're trying to break that barrier, because the only way we can help you and help one another really is by telling each other our stories. And that's where we can say, oh, that's happened to me, I'm not the only one, there are others out there, and help is available, right? So I see Niraj is in the room, but I can't see you, Niraj. Are you ready for us? Not yet. I think then in that case, I invite everybody to turn their cameras on if you're happy to. Remember, this is all part of breaking with all this caring about what other people think of us and what we look like. So I invite you all to turn your cameras on. And I'm going to put on a song and we're going to get up and dance, okay? And we're going to shake off part of SOMA Breath. Oh, maybe Niraj is doing that for us. Great minds think alike. So stand up, everybody. Come on. Part of SOMA Breath we have is shaking. So shake and release all that tension. Okay, Niraj, you read my mind. Okay. Right, everybody, up we get. And start shaking all that tension up. We can do this. Come on, who cares what we look like? Come on. That's it. Yay, Sean, go for it. That's it. That's what we want to see. Freeman, Elizabeth, Rebecca, Niraj too, come on.
There we go. Welcome back, everyone.
Thank you for that, Niraj. For everybody in the room, I hope you realize some people are asking me if they're in the right place. This is how we start. And this is, I hope you realize how you feel now compared to when you walked into the room, right? So you must be feeling like 100 times better. So this is a great way of releasing tension, a great way also just relaxing and being comfortable in each other's company. All right. So Niraj, I explained earlier that you've had your fair share of mental health issues and anxiety to deal with. And so who better to take this live Q&A with us today than yourself. For anyone who's been keeping up to date with what we've been doing, I met this amazing guy for the first time ever 2 weeks ago. And this is the first time I'm meeting you again, Niraj, since then, because you're such a busy man. And he really is a fountain of knowledge. It really, really is amazing. Wherever you go with him, you know, you're eating and he tells you to throw the ice cubes out of the out of the glasses and not to drink anything too cold. He's their constant reminder of how really your health is your wealth, right? And you should really take care of yourself. So today we're focusing on mental health. And Niraj, over to you. Just before you start there, can I just check? Sheila said that the link was not working to come into this Zoom room. Is Sheila still in the room? Because before I let the team, I just want to ask Sheila how she came into this. She came in. How did you guys come into the room? Did you all come in through your membership? Did anyone come in with their email? Can you put your hands up if you came in with an email?
Everyone's saying the email link wasn't working. Takes you to the homepage.
That's awful. Oh, so anyway, I'll just get on with the team now, because some people might still be trying to join.
Post the link in the Facebook groups and stuff.
Yeah, will do. All right then, over to you, Niraj.
All right. Okay. Well, welcome everybody. So what we just did a minute ago was what we call the SOMA Breath shake, and a bit of an ecstatic dance. And it's actually a really good way to change your state very quickly. It doesn't have to be like my music. It can be any music that you like resonate with. But that was one of my new tracks that's coming out very soon. What do you think of that? Who's into that one? Yes. It's coming out soon. Got a whole album of like really cool music coming out.
Niraj, you played that on the live in Ibiza. What does he actually say? Like, what is the main?
It means heaven.
All right. Okay.
The lyrics are about heaven, the sound of heaven.
Okay, that's amazing. Because
it does sound quite like heavenly.
I was singing because it was in Ibiza. I could hear Ibiza, can you hear me, or something. That's the line I could hear. So that's what I was singing in my head. And I've been meaning to ask you what it
sounds like some like really cheesy Ibiza hit song that
anthem,
you're
nightclub anthem, yeah.
Awesome.
But anyway,
cool, awesome. So there's a lot in what we just did, actually, in terms of what helped me overcome mental health issues. Like, I can't say my method works for everybody, but it really worked for me. So I can only speak from my own personal experience. But yeah, I suffered from a lot of issues from doing a degree that I didn't want to do as a pharmacist, working like in a job that I didn't want to do as a pharmacist, and just basically being around that whole environment, which isn't where I belonged, and there's a lot that goes into what leads to depression. So I think people who listen to this, who are suffering from any kind of long extended periods of low mood, where if I was to ask you a question, do you wake up every day, every morning enthusiastic to get out and do something, meaningful with your life, with your day, like, a hard day's work or working on your passion or something that excites you. If you're not waking up with that enthusiasm every morning, if that goes on for too long, basically that's the first sign of chronic stress, which then usually leads to things like depression. So this happened to me for many, many years, actually, back to back, of zero enthusiasm to get out of bed, setting several alarms just to get myself out eventually out of bed. So who can actually resonate with that who's listened to this, a time in their life where you just didn't feel like getting out of bed. You know, I'm sure some of you can resonate. Does anyone have that right now? Okay. Not anymore. Esther says not anymore because she went to our SOMA Breath retreat and now she's sparked a whole new life for herself. Yeah, is anyone like feeling it right now? Let's just see. I'm going to put it onto gallery view so I can see you better. Okay. Sheila. All right. Okay. So I'm going to try and give you a little, for those who really feeling right now, some insight onto what helped me with the aim to change your perception a little bit. So the fact that you're on this call right now, tuning in, already means that that your default can be abundance, health, wealth, happiness, everything you ever want. Just the fact that you take an action and tune into this means you're already like, you know, this small, tiny percentage of the world that actually takes action and makes a difference. So everything can change for the better when you take action. All right. So that's one of the first steps. But some people get so low that they can't even take action anymore. That's like the ultimate state of depression, which is apathy, where there's just no care anymore, no hope left. And a lot of it does come to hope and faith, you know, and religion actually tries to give us tools to be able to keep the faith that there's something beyond us, higher than us, that's there to protect us and guide us. And that the universe is here to protect us. So for me, and maybe you can resonate with this, when I had this lack of enthusiasm, I couldn't even get out of bed. I was having feelings like, you know, the world is out to get me, basically. Universe doesn't have my back. All that stuff's nonsense. And I'd lost the hope for humanity to a certain point, and my own future. So would you say that resonates, that kind of state, mindset, of anyone who's feeling that right now? Is it Sheila or Sheila? You were saying something?
Niraj, do you want me to unmute some people? Do you want them to enter the discussion already or later?
We can talk later. I just want to,
okay.
If you want
Just
to
read,
nod, up, down.
Yeah.
If you resonate with that, like the perception of how you see the world has shifted in a direction where you don't feel the universe supports you or a higher power exists. Does that resonate right now, or do you in between? All right. Yeah. That's kind of usually how it is. So I had this for a long period, and it was a series of events that took me to that point. And like in the beginning of my life was amazing. So, I mean, not the beginning. I mean, the time during university where I actually found my path as a music event promoter and a DJ. And I was running these raves with 2,000 people every month. And I had it all. I had like beautiful girlfriend at the time. I was like amazing friends around me. I was running these huge raves. I was like the coolest guy at university. It was epic. So everything was fully aligned, and actually was a bit more spiritually minded back then compared to what happened afterwards. But when it all got taken away from me suddenly, there's a series of events that just seemed to come out of the blue where I didn't feel like I deserved it. Boom, I lost everything. And then I was like 7 years working as a pharmacist, doing something I really couldn't stand every single day, and was completely misaligned with my soul, like what I really wanted to. Like, it was the most least creative profession. And I'm a creative at my heart. So everything that I thought I was, and all the skills and talents that I felt I had, were not able to express in this environment that I was in. And, you know, like people would say to me things like, oh, it's okay. It's a stepping stone. Those 8 hours a day is just working towards doing something bigger. And they were right. But at the time, actually, it didn't feel that way. And 8 hours a day doing something you don't want to do is a long time. That's like a third of the day. Well, it's half the day because a third of it we're asleep. So it's like half the day spent doing something that you hate. So it's no surprise that there's so much depression in the world, because so many people are doing careers that are not expressing their humanness, that we become robotized, and we're doing jobs that, you know, hopefully soon AI and robots will be able to do better than us, so that we can be free to do more creative stuff. Hopefully that'll be a positive outcome. So what happened was I tried really hard again to get out of this job, and I started to devise systems of getting people off medications. And one of the inspirations to that was going to a Tony Robbins event, where I saw somebody for the first time really talk about what really is required to be healthy from a diet perspective, lifestyle perspective, nutrition, but also incredible energy of positivity and transformation. You know, Tony Robbins is this Goliath. Like, I'd never seen anything like it in my life before. And I was very skeptical of that stuff. But it really does put the fire up you for about a month. And then boom, you get back into life and everything changes, right? You get back into that environment. And everything I've found from this was that the environment is everything. This was the biggest learning for me. Who you surround yourself with, 8 hours a day, doing what you do, it becomes you. You become your environment so much, right? Even genes epigenetically are switched on and off based on your environment, right? So your environment that you surround yourself in, you become eventually, right? So you have to be very careful. So if you're around negativity and depression, you know, which is what I was working in that environment with a lot of people who didn't like what they were doing as a pharmacist. And then I ended up in a corporate environment, which was even worse. You absorb all this energy, especially if you're an artist by nature. If you're a creative person, you tend to be more open to other people's energies and emotions, and I'd absorb a lot more of it. So I really suffered in that corporate environment. And then boom, when that got taken away from me, because I had this amazing concept. I worked so hard with this healthy shopping list service, going to help millions of people in the UK. Suddenly, the middle management screwed it up and shelved the idea. And boom, another failure. So a series of failures led me to becoming more and more depressed. And then I got autoimmune disease, boom. And that I was wearing nappies at 33 years old, right? You know, that was the lowest point in my life, especially when the consultant told me you're either going to have your colon removed or be a guinea pig for a drug they haven't tried before. So I was like, oh my God. So everything I've tried to go against to help people break free from the pharmaceutical world, I'm suddenly now I was now suddenly a pharmacy customer, you know, myself, and having to go into the system. So I was ready to give it all up. That was apathy. At that point, I just surrendered to death. And I thought that's what was going to happen eventually. I was going to die, you know, in a few months. I would just bleed to death. So I was extremely depressed, you can tell. But I got to a point where I was so low that I didn't even care anymore, right? There was no hope. So how did I turn it all around? So this is the bit that's, I still wonder, like, actually exactly what was the turning point. But there's a few things that happened. And one of them, the key one, is very much in my memory, is two moments that happened within a week. Was my now Swami Ambakananda paying me a visit. And actually, ironically, it was very, very interesting. She asked me, this is how she got me in. She wanted me to do the music soundtrack, because she knew I made like cool, like music back in the day. to the dialogue of death in the Upanishad. The Katha Upanishad, there's this one section of it, is a dialogue with death. And in fact, the whole book is a dialogue with death. And it's one of the most profound texts in the Upanishads. And she wanted me to do the music for this. So she's narrating all this stuff about death. I think I'm going to die anyway, right? Not, in a few months' time. It was all very strange, how the timing of the whole thing. But she never told me anything about like, oh, this is for you your journey, for you to learn about what death means in Hindu. She didn't say anything like that. It wasn't about that. It was just simply she wanted to make a CD and she needed music. So I did it. And in going through that, she started to suddenly open up to me about, certain techniques in pranayama, in yoga, in Ayurveda, and meridian points and things with acupuncture that she told me some inspiring stories of people who had healed themselves using these techniques. So I started to then think, actually, maybe I should try some of this yogic stuff. Just being in a presence. Again, it's the environment, right? I was getting out of my parents' environment, which is all mainstream medicine because my mum's a doctor and all of my relatives are pharmacists and dentists and stuff, to suddenly being in a more spiritually minded yogic environment. And now suddenly I'm starting to open up without even realizing it to something else, a new path, a new way. And she gave me this one line, which was, imagine the gift this illness would be if you could turn it around, cure yourself, because you've been helping other people in the pharmacy. Now is a chance to help yourself, to really understand how your body works, how your spirit works. And then with that gift, you might be able to create something new that means you don't have to go back to being a pharmacist. So it was just that simple, painting a picture of a future that hadn't happened yet, but could happen if I healed myself from this disease. So then I thought, might as well give this a go. And I let down my disbelief because I wasn't really into yoga or these sort of spiritual practices. I thought it was all kind of spiritual, like hocus pocus. I didn't believe it was some kind of science back then. But started to go down the rabbit hole and I realized that actually this is a science. And there's already scientific papers out there. And I discovered like Prakash Maharsh's work and this Nishesha Rachaka, the breath hold techniques. So I started to use all that. And then my uncle, for some reason, told me, oh, that was it. He heard about somebody else had healed themselves by going to the source of Tony Robbins. Yeah, because he knew that I became a fan of Tony Robbins. And the guru of Tony Robbins, one of the gurus of Tony Robbins that he got a lot of his information from, was Joseph Murphy. And he had a great story. He was a pharmacist of his time, like back in the 40s. But he was also a devout Christian, actually. And he was really into Christian science, but he also studied Ayurveda and Eastern medicine. So he combined all this together and created this whole concept of scientific prayers and how to speak to the unconscious mind. The book's called The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. So that is what gave me the idea of now getting into trance states to use words and affirmation to reprogram the mind. So I started to put all these techniques together, and that's the foundations of what we do in SOMA Breath. I was doing that without as precise as it is now with all the music and everything, but I was making my own versions. Then I started to add music to it. Then I started to go down the Ayurvedic rabbit hole, and I became fascinated with this whole yogic science and the science of Ayurveda. And, in Ayurveda, there's no one size fits all, and that there's all these different energy types and personalities, and therefore we have different diets and lifestyles. And I realized all the mistakes I'd been making in my own healing journey. In the beginning, I was trying to do things, but it wasn't working. So that's why I lost hope even more. But I realized I was doing it wrong. So because I was following the vegan diet. Apparently the vegan diet cures everything. So I realized actually for my energy type, that's the worst diet to have. So I switched to a totally like a diet that would be completely banned in India, which is a all beef diet with bone broth. And in the Ayurvedic system, the Vata people like me, when you have the Vata issues, some meats can help to ground the energy. And I then read stories of people who had healed themselves from ulcerative colitis using like mostly meat diet, like a paleo diet. And then I discovered colostrum and how this is a Ayurvedic medicine and how you can use this. Anyway, I'm going on a bit about the story, but I'm just showing you that how just a changing environment, who I was surrounding myself with, changed almost everything, right, for me. It took me down a whole new reality tunnel. So, and it was a change in perception. It was seeing my illness now as a gift, my situation as a gift, and the point where I could learn a lot from. And if I take those learnings and, you know, put them in a certain way, I can actually help a lot of people. So then I started to ask questions, right? A lot of like, okay, if I didn't ever have to go back to being a pharmacist, right? What would be the ultimate kind of way to make an income, to earn money, and not be stuck in this cubicle? So I came across this book, The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss, and I read that. And it was all about a whole new way of, you know, creating internet businesses. This is back in 2011. Now everyone's doing it, right? So I made an automated income business that ran on autopilot. I actually had the 4-minute work week for a little while. So all of this came from, again, this little change in environment, this change in perception. So with SOMA Breath, what I wanted to do was, how do I create a environmental change that doesn't require you to have to go and travel and be in a retreat in an ashram somewhere, that it could happen from your own home, okay? So one thing that I needed to do that was to create a community. Community is the cure. So this big community we got, everyone is just epic and is out to help you, right? So you can get help from so many different areas and different types of people and, you know, mentors and, you know, just all walks of life are in our community. So there was one step. But the second one was, I was like, but what about the shift that changes the perception, that makes us see the past in a whole new way? So in pranayama, you tap into the autonomic nervous system and it changes your physiology, and you can switch on and off states. A sympathetic state is a more present, active state. Parasympathetic state is a more passive, receptive state. So just breathing techniques, you can switch on a different state of consciousness and become now more passive, where your unconscious mind is more open to suggestion. And then you can use like guided hypnotic language to change the perception, to reprogram consciousness, to paint a new picture of hope and reality, you know, new reality tunnel that's more aligned. So this is what if you look at our daily doses, the way they're designed is exactly like that. It's all designed to, in like 20 minutes, to change your state very, very powerfully, very quickly, so that not only you're changing the internal environment, right, but you're also waking up the feel-good hormones of dopamine. Dopamine is the hormone of execution, of action. And you need that. You need that spark. You need the mitochondria turned on, that dial turned on, the ignition switch that gets the car running again. You know, like if you've had a car left on the side for a long period of time, it doesn't start anymore, right? It's just like when you're depressed. It's like you've left your body, you've left, you know, your mind's gone somewhere else, and you haven't used the body anymore. So when we get back into the body and we start to change our physiology internally, it can be breath work, like what we do with our daily doses, but we also bring in like the dance, the shaking, the movement, right? Anything that wakes up the somatic energy, the energy of the mitochondria of our body, that kickstart will start to change this and shift the gears of perception. And that's how you wake people up out of these states. And then in our community, there's so many amazing success stories. So I always look to using testimonials, you know, to tell stories. Like, we have so many powerful testimonials. Like, there's one lady, I love her story, from Wales, right? Rhiannon, who just did the Limitless track. And that Limitless track is everything I just described. It's a guided meditation that has a visualization technique. And it's all about seeing the world with limitless opportunity and seeing it and just allowing your mind to be open to as many different things that you would enjoy to create in your life. And this is what this guided journey like wakes you up to see and feel. And then it embodies through the breath. So she used that track, right, about 4 times a day. Okay. And she got herself from like pretty much being wheelchair bound, also bleeding heavily like I was, but also puking her own shit at one point. Sorry for the graphic description, but all of that she did. She was doing, and within like, I don't know, months or weeks, she was back to normal. Right? And now she's like full of life.
3 months, 3
Yeah,
months dedicated. Yeah.
So I wanted to try and put like all my, you know, experience into one journey that anyone can do at any moment, at any time. And that's what our daily doses are designed to do. And then we also obviously have more elaborate tracks as well, the 1 hour journeys that are really powerful. And we have protocols and courses. But so that's the meditation side. That's this, you know, the tapping back into the spirit side. But then there's some hacks that I started to do as well. That involves really engaging the soma. You see, in Tibetan Buddhism, the whole way to control the mind, because depression is a mental problem, it's a psychological issue, but it can be very much related to the physiology. The way into the mind is through the body. So tantra, tan means body, tantra is all of a system of techniques and rituals and practices designed to tap into the body, the soma. Soma means body in Greek. That's why we're called SOMA Breath, to control the mind. It's very difficult to control the mind because the mind is so erratic, and the mind is actually hard to even comprehend what it is. But with the body, through the breath, we can actually bring peace to the mind, tranquility to the mind, which is in yoga, Triti Niti Virodhara. That's the goal of the aspiration of yoga. It means bring tranquility to mind, peace to mind. So some of the other ways into the body, tap into the body, is dance, shaking, these practices that we were doing, ecstatic dance. Especially women. Women are naturally like dancers. They're naturally supposed to move, you know, throughout the day. And so dance is really important to waking up the feminine energy. And we live in such a kind of a male-dominated world and very robotized corporate world that people forget to move their bodies. And if you're in an academic world, that can be even more challenging because a lot of professors, there's a funny quote from Sir Ken Robinson, which is a lot of professors have bodies just to carry their heads around, right? So, you know, so if we've forgotten the body, that's what's going to lead eventually to depression. So the other hack that's super powerful, okay, is saunas, getting into saunas and ice baths and doing a ritual that involves 10 to 20 minutes in a dry heat sauna, 80 to 100 degrees centigrade, followed by going into a cold water plunge for 5 minutes max. Well, it depends on how cold it is. If it's like less than 10 degrees, you only need about 5 minutes or less even. But the sweet spot is around 15 minutes at around 15 degrees temperature. So most spas actually should have a cold plunge that's around 10 to 15 degrees. And if you just spend like, go into a sauna, get super hot, sweating, do our breathing protocol in there. And like humming is the secret for that. Lots of humming or extended exhales, followed by going into a cold bath, right? And that rotation is incredible for the hormonal system, right? Improves your endorphins, your dopamine levels, it activates stem cells. And this in itself can get rid of a lot of the junk of emotion that gets built up over time that leads to depression. So I did a combination of these breath meditations with music, dancing, and hot and cold sauna rituals, right? Really, really works. It makes an amazing difference. You'll feel great. And then if you look at a lot of depression, if you look at anxiety, if you look at these issues, any psychological problem where you're experiencing low emotional states for long periods of time, if you look at it as a hormonal thing, right? Like they say, you know, it's very materialistic, and in spirituality, they may like veer away from this. But I think there's no doubt that a big part of who we are is our hormones, right? So, for example, if I give you a massive amount of MDMA, for example, which produces loads of serotonin, you're going to feel incredibly loved up and emotional, right? Whether you like it or not, because of the drug, right? And there's, you know, if I give you heroin, you're going to feel extremely tranquil and kind of just blissed out, right? So drugs have this immediate effect on the physiology. But the one thing that works like drugs, and even better than drugs, because there's no side effects like drugs, is the breath. And with the breath, we can change our hormonal system on command. Okay, we can actually increase dopamine, oxytocin, these feel-good hormones just with simple breath control techniques. So my prescription for things like depression, or you need to get it early. You really want to get it before it gets too late. When you first start getting that sign of, I don't want to get out of bed in the morning, I don't want to go, I can't face today. That's the moment you start doing a practice, right? And the practice usually means asking yourself some pretty difficult questions. And some of the questions will be, are you in an environment that you can thrive in? If not, you got to change it. You got to figure out what that is that will make you thrive. Second is, are you doing the job that you want to be doing? If not, what is it? And then you're going to make a strategy, reverse engineering the result that you want. So once you start doing that and you start looking out there for people who already done what you want to do, you start to get hope back. You start to get the faith back. Okay. And then from that, you get a new charge of energy. And you start to think that the universe is going to conspire to make this result happen in your life as long as you follow the proven steps. Okay. For some people, it's not as proven, right? They're whatever it is that they're aiming for, striving for. And that might be why they end up with lots of failures. But that's the thing with taking on ambition. Some ambitions require you to fail quite a lot before you hit that big jackpot. And here's some of the problems that entrepreneurs have and why they get depressed is because they fail, and then they think they're just failures, when actually it may be the next attempt that is the big, massive home run. So some people fail not enough. Do you know what I mean? They maybe need to fail a couple more times before they get that one time where they hit the home run. And that's what you sign up for when you're an entrepreneur. That's what you sign up for if you're a coach, even a therapist. It's not completely like predictable. You're not going to get a safe and secure job doing these things. You have to take a bit of element of risk and stepping out of the comfort zone. But the rewards are amazing. So here are some of the things you have to understand is about, you know, like, because it's all relative. Like when I was depressed and I was getting out of that situation, I was fortunate enough, I changed my environment completely. And I stayed with actually one of my best friends. A lot of the guitars in SOMA Breath music is one of my best friends who's a psychiatrist. He hated his job at the time. So I was like, look, I'm shitting blood 40 times a day. I can't go anywhere. I can't do this job. This is our one chance to try and make some music together and see if we can make an album that does something. So some of those tracks like Serotonin and Sunrise, you heard that's all with his guitars that we made when I was going through my healing journey. And he said, okay, come and live with me. So I went and moved in with him. And he lived in a old converted psychiatric hospital, by the way. It was a madhouse, basically. But they made him into doctor's accommodations. And this was our first studio, way before SOMA Breath was a thing. And it's where some of the early music that you'll hear in our soundtracks were produced. But so I would have a lot, these are the periods of time when I was really, really up and down. Like there'll be moments of hope, and there'll be a lot of days of doom and gloom. I'm shitting blood every day. I'm in so much pain, misery. The world is shit. I hate this. And there was like ups and downs. So the thing that the things I'm telling you right now are not like orthodox, traditional depression cures or anything like that. But what he would do, it was kind of a joke, but it would work. Would be like, he would tell me, I'd be like complaining about something that day, about how I'm feeling and how there's no hope and how it's all so difficult. And so he would tell me this one story. Let me just tell you what I had to do this morning. And then he'll tell me the story of how he went to visit a now patient who basically had come home and found that her husband had shot both her kids and then himself. And then she had to get sectioned because she went mad. So obviously, right? That's probably the worst thing that could ever happen to somebody. So he would tell me these crazy stories that happened almost every other day for him. That was his reality, because he's a psychiatrist in a very kind of part of London where it's notorious. There's a lot of problems, a lot of poverty. And so I'd be like, holy, and he'd be like, look, what you've got are first world problems compared to what some of these people are going through. So relatively, what I started to realize over time is that there's always somebody who's got it a lot worse than you. And therefore, you got to be grateful for what you actually do have right now, you know? And so that helped me a lot, because I realized that, you know, I'm in a very fortunate place, even though it didn't feel like it at the time, that I had this gift. If I could just fix this, I really did have all the means to really inspire a lot of people. I'd have that story. So that all of these things start to give me hope. You know, they start to give me the faith. And then I realized as well that all those people that are suffering out there, they haven't been as fortunate as I have, you know, with all the encounters I've had. So it's my duty, actually, that once I've healed myself, to give this knowledge back, to pass it on, to make a system where I can actually help a lot of people. But then if you read the 4-Hour Workweek, it talks all about scale. If you read like money mindset stuff, T. Harv Eker, things like wake you up about abundance, I realized that actually once you've got something that can of value to somebody, if you can scale that many times over, right, you can have a very thriving business that helps a lot of people in the process, and you get job satisfaction. Not like what I was doing in the pharmacy. They claim to help lots of people, and maybe some drugs do, but a lot of them don't. So that wasn't the outlet, but I still wanted to help people. So, you know, sharing stuff that should be taught at school, right? That should be our default foundational education, with people who haven't had that upbringing, had access to that information, is what SOMA Breath is. We are merely transferring knowledge from what's helped me and helped a lot of people. That should be the foundation of education, but that's the ultimate game. The ultimate aim is one day this becomes a part of the educational system, right? So in the process of doing that and getting there, we can create a lot of abundance, and I can have company that's with all my best friends, and it's an outlet for music and all these amazing things. So, but this all came with a vision of being very clear in the beginning. What is it that I need to do to create my perfect environment? What will be my average perfect day, you know, or peaceful day? What's going to bring me peace of mind? What are the kinds of people I need to go and hang out with? What mentors do I need? You know, are there examples of people who live in this life already? So all of these questions, you ask yourself all these questions, it starts to wake you up out of the trance of being depressed and stressed. And you start to see there's a lot more hope. And you start to see there's lots of people who've gone through worse situations or similar. And then you start to realize you're not alone, you know, and a lot of depression is loneliness, just feeling like you're the only one. Right now with the internet, you instantly can tap into people who are just like yourself. So yeah, that's a lot of me rambling on. That's just my story, you know, like there is no like textbook cure for these low energetic states other than the shift in perception, which we all can do in the moment. We can all do that with a 20-minute SOMA Breath journey if you want, you know, or tap into one of our SOMA Breath instructors. They're the masters, they're magicians of changing your mind, right? And making it more aligned. So there we go. Any questions?
Thank you, Niraj. I wouldn't say that was rambling on. We've got comments on YouTube and inside the Zoom room thanking you for what you've just shared. And I think we kind of like felt we were on that journey with you, because you spoke about, you have actually said stuff that I've not heard before either. So you've shared more information, and we felt like we could see how you went through, you know, you can't suffer what you suffered, but we could feel how each step made a connection with another step and another step, another step, which then brought you to what you're doing today.
Joining the dots.
Exactly.
Like I would love to, like, anyone who is feeling low mood, low energy, or just not at their optimum, who wants to, we can try a little exercise now to see if we can change your perception a little bit, make you feel a bit better. Does anyone wants to have a go?
Yeah. Jasmine says yes.
So Sheila was the one that.
Sheila, okay, you spotted her before me. Okay, unmute. Should I ask her to unmute? Could you unmute, please, Sheila?
Yes. Hey.
Welcome.
Thank you. Hi, and thank you for this.
No, all good. So where are you calling from?
Denmark, Copenhagen.
Denmark. Okay, cool. So what happened?
Well, I'm actually in a academic world, and I'm not liking it at all. And I've been in a position for almost 2 years, which I really don't like.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, but I'm in it because I have a family. I have a expensive rent, so just have to, you know.
Yes.
And I'm just telling myself to stick in, but I really don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah, it's breaking you down, right? So
yeah, it is.
So do you have a partner, or are you?
Yes, I do have a partner. Yeah.
And are they very supportive?
Yes, very much.
That's good. That's really good. That's important. So what would you say would give you peace of mind? If there was a day that you can manifest that is your average peaceful day, is a day, any day which you can live over and over again, where you'd feel content, what would be like a typical day? Like just run through, like, what would you rather be doing rather than?
I actually would do this you're doing. Yep. I signed up for the course, so I want to help people, and I've always been a good listener, and I thought I wanted to be a psychologist, but it's I need the physical part. I need I can't handle the, you know, just talking and listening, but so I needed the physical thing. And then I found some of your tracks on Spotify, and I was like, okay.
So from my own experience, what I did in the beginning, like, so the first rule is make peace with your present situation. So if you hate your job, right, that much, what I did, okay, because you can't just quit it, right? You got rent, you got mortgage, you got all that shit, right? It's just reality, unfortunately. So you could take a huge risk and burn bridges, but it's risky. But here's something else you could do in the beginning, is while you're going through our course, all right, you could actually start testing it out on people. Yeah. To see how it works with your people you work around with. If anyone would any of them be open to doing a session?
Yeah, some would. I have been
There we
talking
go.
to some of my colleagues.
So you could start a weekly free kind of SOMA Breath class with people who are up for it, and that will give yourself something to look forward to in your job. And then that also gives you practice. It gives you testimonials. And then what do you do? What do you do in the academic world?
I'm a coordinator for master degrees in
Wow.
social data science. So
You work in an office
at the university in an office.
person.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's lots
Copenhagen.
of people there.
A lot of people, yeah. A lot of academic bodies with hats on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is what you need to do first. Make peace with the present situation. Now, some people get depressed because of something happened in the past that they can't let go of. Right. But that's not your situation.
Also that. It's
Too.
everything is coming up. It's like,
Yes.
yeah. It's just
So the great thing with what we do is with our SOMA Breath techniques is that, and I do actually recommend you do a session with an actual instructor who's like a master instructor, is the idea of letting go of the past and becoming enthusiastic of the future, right? So in order to become super enthusiastic of the future, we got to let go of what's happened before, and transmute it, like to change the perception. That there's a stepping stone of events that happen in everyone's life, some good, some bad. But if you look at all the good ones that happen, there was always a series of bad ones that led to the good one, right? And that's just life. The nature of life is that there's always an ebb and flow of bad and good situations that leads somewhere, if you do the right thing, to a better situation. So that's always been the journey in my life. And so I look at I don't look at anything with regret anymore, because I wouldn't be here where I am today if it wasn't for all the screw ups, the hurts, the arguments I got into, the conflicts and all of that, and all of the failures. Nothing that I'm doing now would have happened if it wasn't for all of that, right? So you got to look back on all of the past situations, and especially if it's somebody who's hurt you, as all of these are gifts. It seems difficult at the moment, but it's really a decision as well. But you can use certain techniques, mental reprogramming techniques. Like we have lots of these tracks in our course, if you're doing the instructor course, which help you rewire the past to let go of old emotions. A lot of it's in our muscle memory. So these somatic practices, like shaking, releasing, really help shake it off. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
Thank you.
Is that useful?
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Cool.
And let me just add what Niraj just said about you bringing it into your academic field, like practicing with, you have students to practice with, lecturers, I guess, so many people, but we have a SOMA Breath instructor doing just that. He hasn't certified yet, but he's brought it into his corporate world, and he practices on his colleagues to the point now that the company have asked him to run monthly sessions. So you could end up maintaining this job whilst, and actually bringing it to the university. So that's what he's doing. And he's like, there's 600 employees at his workplace, and he's introducing SOMA Breath in there. So there's so many different ways of like using where you are right now.
Yeah.
As the group that you're going to introduce SOMA Breath to, and how many lives you can impact through that as well.
Yeah.
So like Niraj said, there's a reason maybe why you're there, why you're at this academic place, because you have a whole, I don't know how many hundreds of people must be there that Thousands. You'll be able to influence. Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah.
It's the reason why you're there, maybe. So
there's always a
bear
reason.
that in mind. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Sheila.
Thank you very much.
Inspiration. It's all about inspiration. Yeah. Inspire means to breathe in. So when we breathe in the light of hope and inspiration, and every time you take a deep breath in, that's what you want to, that's the message you want to be programming into your mind.
Yeah. Yep. Yes.
There's so
Thank
much
you.
out there. There's so much possibility. We live in a world now that's crazy in terms of possibility. It's wild. It's every day something new comes out. This whole AI thing is insane, you know. So like I'm overwhelmed with choice. I just don't know what to do next. But too much choice. That can cause depression too, by the way. It's too much choice. You get overwhelmed and your brain frazzles out. So yeah.
Thank you, Chila.
Thank you.
Can we take Monel? She sent in a question to ask around anxiety. Monel, are you happy to put your question to Niraj?
Yes, absolutely.
Hi
Thank
there,
you.
welcome.
Thank you. Hi, Niraj.
Hello.
Nice to meet you. So, I'm recovering from a depression. I'm still on medication, and I am suffering still with low energy. That's my stamina is just it's just not there. And I found SOMA Breath in November, and I started doing it regularly, like digitally every day, the daily dose and all of that. And I have to say, for one thing, is that I have asthma also when I was on puffer and no longer on puffer. So that's really good. And I think that was SOMA that really helped me get rid of the daily puffers I was taking with the breath. But back to my anxiety. What I was finding out in the last few weeks is that I was more nervous and I couldn't understand why. And then I did the Ecstatica or the Ibiza session with the dancing. That was my first time. And I noticed after that, my tinnitus was increased. And then my nervousness was increased. So I realized, I think that my body, my nervous system is too, how would I say, hypersensitive. And that the breath holds. And I was trying too much because I was thinking
You're doing it too hard, too much force.
Yes. Yes, exactly. And I have to say, I reached out to Wilma last week. She was so great and helpful, and even linked me a couple of meditation that are more calming. But I love SOMA Breath. I love the sessions. And what would be the daily dose type of medication that you would recommend? I've already noticed, because I've stopped doing all the breath holds for one thing. But with the rhythmic breath, sometimes it's like a 2-4, 4-4, 4-8. What would be the best thing for me at this point? Because I think I was trying too hard and it didn't help me. But it helped, but I noticed some effect from it.
Okay, so where are you at in terms of your well-being right now? Like, you're on medications or off?
Yeah, I'm on medication still. My mood is okay. It's my energy level.
Your energy is down. So energy is related to the health of your mitochondria. Okay. So you've got to wake up. You need to turn up the dial on the energy of your mitochondria, right? So the energy centers of your cells, they can be exercised through certain breathwork techniques, but you need to do more the types of techniques that are in our breath fit course first, and then that's all I would do to start with. See how that goes.
Which one? Sorry.
The breath fit. We have a course called breath fit.
Okay.
And you need so a lot of this, it needs a holistic kind of approach. And that's why I recommend working with an actual SOMA Breath coach.
Yeah.
We have a few on this call right now. Is first you got to look at your so the breathing habits. So we teach you all of that in Breath Fit. There's certain breath techniques that kind of wake up the metabolism, okay, which is the Bastrika followed by breath holds. But you can use one of our daily dose tracks. A more gentle one would be something like Limitless. The thing is, why you're causing the tinnitus is coming from, you're maybe forcing the inhale too much. You're doing too much like this. Do you do it like that?
Well, not so much, no, because
that
I've
just
been
made my ears pop. This
Yeah.
is what causes tinnitus when people force the inhale too much and they hold their breath too hard on the inhale. It's
Yeah,
the
I think I was.
inhale hold that pops the ears, right? So especially if you're doing it fast, you know, like when people do like the Wim Hof method, they do it through their mouth and they do this. That messes up your ears, right? The ear pressure. So that's wrong. So the way we do the breath is extended exhales with a slow rhythm, breathing in for 4 beats, out for 8 beats. It's like almost silent, right? You can hardly even hear that you're breathing, right? That's how to do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You shouldn't get tinnitus. Do you still get the tinnitus problem?
Oh, it's. I would say now it's toned down to what it was before, so it's back to its normal, the intensity.
So you had tinnitus before this?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Yeah. So it can, because it affects your inner ear pressure. It can elevate it a little bit. So, gentle, slow, rhythmic breathing, and then breath holds. And no breath. Don't do the breath holds on the inhale. Just don't hold your breath on the inhale. You don't need to do that. Okay.
But it's okay to do the one on the exhale.
Yes.
Okay. Perfect.
And then I really recommend for energy is the sauna cold protocol. Yeah, that works like magic. And then you need to have more of a dopaminergic diet. So you have 2 types of diets. You have a dopaminergic diet or a serotonergic diet. Serotonergic diets are usually the sweet and savory foods, and they can make people who are already low energy, it can make them very sleepy and lazy, like carbs, grains, starches, does that, right? Anything sweet and savory. But dopaminergic foods are more protein based, more bitter, astringent, more green, and more cooling foods. So you want to start having more of those diets. Now, we actually have a quiz. Okay. I'm just finishing it. But I want you to be a guinea pig on it. Okay. I'm going to send it to you.
Okay.
Correctly. I'm going to send you the link. And I want you to fill it out. And then I want you to message Wilma with your contact. All right. Because I want to, if you're open to it, I want to use it as a case study for our instructors in training to get you back to your full best.
Okay.
We can also do the same with Sheila as well. I'm going to give her the test too. Yep. And then that way we can expand upon this call with some follow-up.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So let me just get the link for you. It's a very cool quiz. It's genius, actually.
How to contact me? People are asking me. I'm on, if you belong to our Facebook community, that I'm community manager over at Facebook. So you can just message me on Messenger, Wilma CB, and I will pass on all the information. And this just shows what Niraj has just done now is how this community works. It's really hands-on, right? You've asked your questions, he's got the questionnaire, you answer the questionnaire, and we actually work with this, integrate it into our course material, working off real people, real examples, right? So this is who we are. So
thank you. That's great. Yes, I look forward to do that.
I resonated with Manel because she wrote to me and she explained everything, and I thought she sounds like me, like she's quite hyperactive, but we need those much slower exhales, which is what I sent to her. But so Niraj said about Breath Fit. So because it is Mental Health Awareness Week, we've put together a bundle. Most of you would have heard about our 21-day awakening journey. That's like our signature program to really get you out of the any negative state you're in and move forward. So we've put that in the bundle because that will really help you. Plus Breath Fit is included, plus a toolkit for breath work for stress and anxiety. So I've dropped the link in there because you should check that. You should check that out. It's basically you're getting Breath Fit and breath work for stress and anxiety for free. Yeah, if you get the bundle. So don't miss out. The link is there, so catch it before I close the Zoom room. And anyone who wants to reach out to me, Wilma CB on Messenger.
Yeah, I will reach out to you, Wilma.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We're already
Thanks,
in contact. No
Thank
worries.
you, Wilma, for all your help. I really appreciate it. And thank
No
you,
worries.
Niraj.
That's what I'm here for. That's what
I'm
I'm
just
here
sending
for.
you the link. All right. So copy and paste this.
Yep.
And
I'll do that.
and then actually just email me direct. It will be Niraj. Oh, I'm just giving you the in the chat. Nice.
I'm making a copy. Good.
Okay, so you just send me back the report, all right?
I
You
think
send me
everyone's
the-
kicking themselves, Niraj, now that they all wanted to speak
Well,
to you. They all want to do the
we
test.
will roll this out once I've fine-tuned
Still, yeah.
the thing. I will roll it out. It's
And
Yep.
okay. So I've sent it to both of you, all right? So you can just send me the email back direct. Okay.
and I wanted to read out just for, we were saying Amber has dropped in the link about Rianne's story. If you do want to hear how Rianne did use Limitless and how she's recovered, that's also in there. Amber, maybe you can drop it in again because we've got lots of messages come through. And I wanted to read Jane. Jane is on the call. She's been, she suffered from depression and anxiety. She's been doing SOMA Breath for 2 years. And she does everything that Niraj spoke about. She's come on, she's a really cool community member, connects with us all the time, appears in all the lives, dances her socks off to all the songs that we play. So everything that Niraj spoke about really does come together if you stick with us, right? As be this community, as we will help and support you. And like if you never spoke and told us what you do, you wouldn't have found out about some other instructors also bringing SOMA Breath into their workforce, although it's the workplace that they want to leave, right? So you could make it work for you.
Let me just put this down very matter of fact. Basically, what SOMA Breath is a way of life, and unfortunately, the way the world has been devised is we've been educated out of the humanness of being a human. Humans are meant to dance. We're meant to laugh, we're meant to play, we're meant to be creative, we're meant to use our breath, we're meant to eat real foods, whole foods, but if you look at the corporatization of humanity, the product, that way of life is sit at your computer all day long, watch TV, come home, don't question anything that's going on in the world, basically eat processed foods throughout the day, don't do any exercise, and then basically moan about that with all your friends, right? And then that's basically, there's no surprise that we've got so much depression in the world and mental health issues, is that we've been educated out of our humanness. So the cure is simple: become human again, go back to your roots, do what the ancients used to do to have fun. Boom, you watch the magic that happens when you do that.
And that's what I keep telling everyone, to talk. Like, don't be shy to talk and express yourself. That is being human, right? And you can start by just, when you're at the bus stop, or when I'm constantly talking to people, because why not? Why would I want to stand there and just be with my thoughts? I just turn around. And it's those small steps that makes communicating easier. And I find that there's still a blockage in a lot of you not to talk. And talking really does, like I said, a problem shared is a problem halved, right? So, and you have this whole supportive community, which can only support you if you allow us to come in, right? So you need to step in first. And it's really an amazing place to be. So, Niraj, I think you might have to leave soon. So someone is asking, and I guess it's on a lot of people's minds though, when you were saying about how you were bleeding and the breath work and what you were doing to help yourself, they're asking, what breath work technique would you recommend?
So, okay, when you're in a serious flare up, don't do breath holds where you're holding your breath beyond the comfort zone, because it moves the peristaltic. If you're having a lot of diarrhea, it can actually make it worse. So you want to do more of the stress relieving techniques, the rest sessions, where you're doing in for 4 beats, out for 8 beats, or in for 2, out for 4. anything that switches off the
Parasympathetic.
switches on the parasympathetic. You want to relax. So that helps release the tension. So they're the best ones. But when you're like to prevent the Nishesha Chakra, the breath holds, the techniques with breath holds, and what we teach in Breath Fit, the whole system of Breath Fit of reducing your breathing, your need to breathe over time is what leads to better health. All right. But bleeding from the bowels, the number one treatment for that is colostrum. Follow our leaky gut protocol. That has everything you need on there, right? If you just type in Soma Breath leaky gut, you'll see we have a health protocol. And we have amazing results with that. That's basically what I did completely. Yep.
Yeah, we can drop that in. We can drop the link in now, actually. I just thought, yeah. Amber beat me to it. She's so quick.
Nice.
Just went over to grab it and she's already put it in there. So
Awesome.
I've put in, because Niraj has mentioned Breath Fit quite a lot. Yeah, it is the course that we tell our instructors to start off with, because it's got the foundation of all of our techniques. So I have put in the Breath Fit link, but I've also given you that bundle link, which is only available for until the end of this week, which will include Breath Fit, the toolkit for breath work for stress and anxiety, which I think, Niraj, you made for someone at work, for a team member. You put that program together because they were undergoing stress. So again, something else, that's worked off the cuff. He actually made this, yeah.
Oh, great, yeah.
Oh, great. So
Wonderful.
That's all in the bundle, okay, with the 21-day, our signature working. So all those links are there. So grab them before I shut the Zoom room down. Amber's also put in the colostrum, link to the colostrum. So I think we have covered everything, Niraj. Thank you so much for your time. And very useful. Everyone's in YouTube as well. Everyone's thanking you. And instructors, you have sent in some questions privately to me as well. Just post them in our Facebook instructor group, because then I can open the conversation there and our master instructors can help answer you as well. Okay, because some of you want to put together your own protocols and stuff. So just make sure you have joined our Facebook instructor group and drop your questions in there, and myself and Amber will pick them up in there.
Cool.
Okay.
All right, everyone. So I wish you all very well, lots of positive energy. And I just want to give you the hope that we are literally living in the most exciting time to be alive right now. We have actually, it may not seem like it, but we have the least war, the most peace, the least famine, and the most abundance at the moment. Even though the media doesn't portray that, turn off the news, turn on positivity, tune in Soma Breath, our community, and that will be the cure. All right. Much love, everyone.
Let's end with Tammy's thank you so much. This puts life in the living. Much love.
Yeah.
I think that's great. So thank you. And remember to keep moving, keep dancing, go to Spotify, Niraj's Spotify, listen to all that music. I don't listen to anything else anymore. There's plenty on there.
There's
so
a lot
thank you
coming
so
out
much. Thank
soon.
you so much, Niraj. And thank you, community, for turning out. Thank you, everybody on YouTube as well. Take care.